Welcome into a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller,
And my name's Brett Parnell.
and we have a fun episode for you guys this week. We have,
We
once again, another player profile episode.
we do have a fun episode, but before we get into that, just shout out, Bruce. I see you representing my hometown tonight. I love it.
I have a t-shirt of my PWHL team, the Charge, and a hat of my NHL team, the Blues, which was
Nice.
not planned. I just wanted to I've been wearing the t-shirt all day, and I just realized there's lasagna sauce on it. But I've been, or nacho cheese. I don't know. There's stains on it. I just grabbed a hat to throw on when I set up recording, though, and this is what I ended up with. So, and you've got
And
the hockey theme going too with your
you
shirt.
didn't plan it. I do, but nothing about trying to tease you over last year's playoffs or anything. A bit of a survivor theme with my choice. I chose to wear my Winnipeg shirt because it's Genevieve's birthday today.
Oh, nice. Honestly, like, I'm finally getting over the 1.6 seconds. Like, it just doesn't come no, it doesn't hurt anymore unless I actively think about it. What I minded was when we played there once or twice this year, and our own announcer's like, "Oh, we've seen crazier things and crazy comebacks happen in this building," and I'm fussing at my TV. Stop bringing it up. Stop reminding me. I've kind of
Well,
just
you and
created
I
a
got to see
mental.
those two teams play each other this year.
Yeah, and we lost that one too, but
That's
we
true.
were losing most of that game. It wasn't like the game seven where we're outplaying them the entire game and they tie it with 1.6 seconds. I just created a mental block. I kind of pretend that game doesn't exist.
Fair enough.
But
But let's tell the audience what we're going to do today for our actual off-season episode, not a rewatch episode.
yeah, before we do, speaking of Winnipeg, shout out to Connor Hellebuck. Still incredible gold medal game performance.
Yeah.
He's what I think of when I see their logo now because of that game. So, but we have another player profile episode. A player that is just an absolute fan favorite from the Survivor community, huh?
I mean, in certain corners of it, they are. I don't think I would say fan favorite, but certainly probably one of the few most divisive players of all time.
Oh, I was totally being sarcastic there.
Oh, I know you were, but I'm saying I do think this person does have a big section of the fan
Oh,
base that are
there's a
massive
section
fans of
that
it.
thinks he is just. There's a section of the fan base that thinks he is this perfect player that was just persecuted and juries were unfairly bitter against him and he didn't do anything wrong. And there's another section of the fan base that's just as wrong and thinks, oh, he's this horrible player. He's not good at the game at all.
Yeah.
And if you haven't figured it out yet by these descriptions, this is the long awaited Russell Hantz episode.
It sure is.
And I don't know about you, but I don't fall into the love him or hate him category. I'm kind of just in the middle. Like, he's not a likable dude, but he's good TV. I enjoy watching seasons he's on.
I fall into the second category. I just have not been a fan at all. I've been defending Natalie's win for ever since it happened.
Yeah,
But
I
he's
will
certainly
defend.
a player that is important to the history of Survivor and therefore deserves his own episode, even if I'm not a fan.
See, you're not a fan, and we'll both defend Natalie's win forever. And our audience knows that I make fun of the way Samoa was edited and
Yeah.
her confessional count all the time. But you're also not out here like some people are claiming he's a terrible player.
No. He
Because
played his game.
you don't
It
make it
wasn't
to
good
the
enough to
end
win.
2 seasons in a row
Mhm.
without without being good at what you're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, we just saw Joe get to the end out of twice in 3 seasons.
Okay, well maybe you can get to the end twice
No,
without
but I'm
being
saying
a
I
good
think
player.
that Joe is a good player. I don't think he's a great player, and that's the difference in him winning and losing.
I Yeah, I guess good, not great is how I'd describe Joe. On
Joe
48,
has
on
to.
48, he was decent. On 50, he got dragged to the end as a goat because anybody beats him.
It's like how we talked about Survivor being that three-legged stool, and you have to have at least two sections of the game in order to do well, be it between social, physical, and
Mm.
strategic. Joe's game was entirely physical. Russell's game is entirely strategic, but at the expense of any sort of social relationships that there is.
I would argue Russell has a little bit of physical, and
Oh yeah, sure.
Joe was a good player on 48. I don't think he was that good on 50. I think he got taken to the end because everyone knows you win if you sit next to him.
Fair enough. I just mean Russell has. How would I summarize Russell's game? Is
Annoying.
fine, but I would say that he just played the entire game as if it was chess or poker and not realized that Survivor is a game with human elements, and that's why he didn't win.
Yeah, I mean, a great summary just of where Russell's game goes wrong, and we'll kind of dive in and go season by season. I assume that's what we
Yeah,
normally do with these episodes. But on heroes versus villains, when someone might be Rob, I don't remember, is on the beach and asks him, "Hey, who do you think should go next?" And he goes, "Oh, either Sandra or Courtney." And the camera zooms out, and both of those two women are sitting right next to him when he says this.
yeah.
That's just not smart. Don't tell people you want them out right in front of them.
Anyway, let's get into the episode 1 of Samoa, because I think that's probably. Could you make a case that Russell's biggest episode is his first ever moment on television?
Oh, that's
I
hard.
think
I
it
don't
is.
know. I don't know what I would say his biggest moment is.
I think Russell's game is summarized by him hitting the beach and just playing entirely different than everybody else. And that starts with the socks on day 1.
Yeah.
Russell knows, and I mean, annoying, would not want to play with him this way, but he knows he can survive the elements. So his idea is, and it's a smart strategy to a point, make this game as difficult for everybody else in it so that they snap because I'm fine.
We also see him tell us his strategy for this season and like his thought behind alliance forming in his first ever episode. And that is the same strategy and same alliance forming basis he uses for 3 seasons,
Yeah.
which is gather together a group of young girls that are dumb to him and go to the end with them.
Only for them to outlast him in one form or another every single time.
And unfortunately for Stephanie Valencia, who is purposely trying to be that role as third season, that was the season aligning with Russell puts a target on your back.
Yeah.
But
But we'll
is
talk
this?
about her at the end.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead, but that I liked her. But
Yes.
is this first episode also? Because what inspired us to want to do this episode was the Hurricane Katrina conversation at camp. Was that this episode also?
Yep. That's night 1.
Oh my gosh. Talk about coming out hot, starting with a bang.
And I think that's what and that's almost in my mind the like odd thing when I think of who would I compare Russell's game to. It's just it worked for him because he was such a strategic player, the way it might have not worked for other people, but he was just going out there to do completely crazy things that no one's ever tried before. So,
Yep.
like you say, the Hurricane Katrina thing, the tribe is just getting to know each other, and he's telling people that he almost died in a Category 5 hurricane that hit Louisiana less than a year before filming, I'm pretty sure.
And he lives in Texas.
Yeah, he says I've never lived one night of my life in Louisiana in confessional, and that I live in Houston.
And this is what makes him so Russell, is there are times when lying in this game is necessary for strategic purposes or to blindside someone. There's no point in lying here. Like,
Yeah,
it's night one. You're literally just getting to know each other.
that's it.
Like, he's just lying to lie at that point. I don't really think there's a huge benefit here. I
I
mean, maybe
completely
you get
agree.
sympathy for it, but people are afraid of sympathy in this game.
I completely agree. Now it wouldn't be a discussion on Russell's first episode if we didn't bring up one individual that he thought was in that quote DA Girls Alliance, and that's Melissa Callahan. First boot, but if I had to pick a first boot to come back, it would be her.
One of my very favorite first boots, and she figured him out way quicker than anyone else he ever played with. And
Yeah,
she got voted out first because no one else figured him out, and he sent her home. But man, so much potential there.
absolutely. But then going on, we start to see the alliance start to form. Melissa's out. Ashley doesn't last very long as she starts to figure Russell out. But you really get into this group with him, Natalie, Mick, and Jason, who are willing to all work together.
Yeah, and eventually he pulls Shambo in.
Yep. As when they merge, Shambo is on the outs of her tribe, which isn't too surprising because that alliance all seemed locked and she was just not getting along with any of them.
What an interesting character Shambo was, by the way.
Yeah. But by pulling Shambo in, it allows Foa to really get back into having a hold of the game. And then from there, Eric's out, Kelly's out, Laura Moret's out, and when Laura goes, you know that Russell's the one running the show.
Yeah, it's and at that point he has power and he has numbers, and it's too late. But
It's too late for them not to get to the end, but we again have to start talking about winning.
which again, I've said this on another recent episode we did. Rob said it best at the Heroes versus Villains finale. Russell plays an amazing game to get to the end. He doesn't play a game that gives him a chance to win.
Yep.
Much like Rob played in All Stars. Great job getting to the end. Jury management was never going to let him win that season.
Eric Cardona has a excellent jury speech in this game.
We'll have to post the YouTube video of that on Facebook this week.
Yeah, that would be great. But once you see that that's when Eric says that and the reactions you get from the jury, and I know we've gone through Samoa quick, I think it's because we know Heroes versus Villains is probably going to have a lot to talk about. It's
Yeah.
everyone's favorite season. But um when Eric gives his speech and you see the whole jury with the exception of a couple people, but and I have a funny thing to say after the show. But when you see the whole jury getting really positive feedback to what Eric's saying about sometimes the person that's least deserving is actually the most deserving, you know
Yeah.
exactly what's happening here. And that Russell's social, I don't even want to say social game, lack of social game cost him the entire shot of winning anything. And the
Yeah.
only person who doesn't know it is Russell himself sitting on the final three benches.
And then he finally finds that out when the winner votes are revealed, and he
But
offers to buy the title.
but he doesn't really find it out for a while because he plays a whole season thinking that he's a winner.
Yeah. I
But
I
yeah,
was I was fully prepared to like come at him and say, "Man, you'd think he'd learn from his mistakes," but he filmed the second one before the first one aired, so that wouldn't have been a fair criticism of me.
he does then go play another season. He's convinced he won. Nobody else is convinced that he won that was there.
No.
And you're right. He gets to the final, realizes he lost, and offers to pay Natalie if she says he's the best.
It's so stupid.
It's one of the most ridiculous things I've seen.
She just won $1 million and you're offering to pay her money? Pretty sure she
Yeah.
just got a lot more of that than you're offering to pay. Like,
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I probably would have done it, but
I think I wouldn't. I'd like to think I'm just petty enough that I would have said no. I I just won $1 million. You offering me money is not super helpful right now.
that's fair.
But yeah, he's a ride, man. He's And we did an episode about confessionals. Russell gives us good confessionals too. They're arrogant
Yep,
as heck, and they make you roll your eyes. But Russell's a great confessionalist.
that he is. That being said, it would be unfair if we talked about the Eric speech, although that's a big part, if we didn't talk about Shambo's speech. Because there is another way to look at Russell's game. It might not be the way that I look at his game, but it's certainly the way his fans look at his game, and it's the way that Shambo looked at his game as a fellow player.
Yeah,
And the way that she approached final. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. The way Shambo approached Final Tribal Council was that Russell outplayed everybody and deserved it, even if it wasn't the most respectful to his other players.
Yeah, and this just comes down to what do you value as a juror? What's important to you? What are you looking for? And
I
Eric and
mean,
Shambo having both of these speeches is kind of a great example of every juror can be looking for something different here.
yeah. We
Eric
see,
valued the social game, and Russell's disrespect and just being a jerk to everyone turned him off. Shambo didn't care about that part. Neither
and
was
that's a
Rum.
and that's a great way to put it because we see these kind of just issues come up all the time. And Jeff always says Survivor is a microcosm of the Western world.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. But speaking of that, let's get into heroes versus villains because I think we'll probably have the most to talk about there.
Oh boy.
Instantly, Russell's in that spot in heroes versus villains where it's day one, they're in the helicopters. Nobody knows who he is. And that can be an advantage and it can be a disadvantage.
Yeah. Probably was an
Really,
advantage
only
for him because if people had seen Samoa, they wouldn't have wanted to deal with him, as evidenced by Redemption
it was a
Island.
huge advantage for him. I mean, probably at this point in the game, only Rupert really knows what that's like. Amanda
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Rupert and Amanda are the only two who played
James,
back to back.
James played back to back.
That's right. And you did kind of All Stars reference incoming for the audience. You did kind of notice that earlier at the time that like you see the reaction that Rupert gets in All Stars, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy you played last season is now up amongst the Seth Dudinos and Richard Hatch and Tina and Ethan.
Yeah,
We might not see that with Rupert anymore, but certainly at the time, I know that you were very young at this point in time. I was not.
You're old.
Rupert was probably one of like the 10 most popular people in the United States.
Oh, I know that part because at the reunions for his first two seasons and in America's Tribal Council, Rupert can literally just stands on stage and goes "Rah!" and the crowd just goes
Goes
nuts.
crazy.
Like he's growling. And guys just grunting and growling, and the crowd is going nuts, and it's hilarious to me. And he won $1 million for being America's favorite player
That
in
he did.
America's Tribal Council.
That he absolutely did. So Russell's in that same spot that when they're on the mats and you're seeing Jeff explain heroes versus villains, and we see Colby and Jerry reunited, and Parvati can't figure out why she's a villain. Everyone's probably looking at Russell just going, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And that really works for him because when they get to the beach, Russell already has his alliance in his head that he thinks was just a master class and won him $1 million. And even though it didn't, that's what he's convinced himself of at this point. And he goes, oh, now I'm going to do it again, but make the greatest Survivor player of all time my first victim.
And, like, the thing that he gets lucky with is Parvati came in with this giant target to where he's the only one that wanted to work with her. She didn't have another option.
She was very much on her own that season. I know she said in her book that that was the hardest season she's ever played in.
With Russell got lucky she had that target. She works with him and aligns with him because she doesn't have an option.
Yeah.
If anyone else wanted to work with her, I mean, what are the odds she chooses Russell? Then he's kind of screwed.
That's true. But then at the same time, Parvati is also outplaying Russell because she's working with him. But we go back to that infamous scene with her and Danielle getting the clue. And the fact that they're not immediately sharing this clue with Russell says that the two of them know he's their ally, but at the same time know there has to be a reason that Russell is considered a villain, even though none of us have, as players, have ever watched him play before.
Oh, I give them credit for saying, hey, there's a reason this guy's a villain. Maybe let's not fully trust him.
Yeah.
Because another player we've done a player profile episode on, JT, that didn't occur to him at all to not trust a random stranger that's been labeled a villain.
Yeah.
JT did not think, hey, maybe there's a reason he's a villain. He just went straight to, let's fully trust him with my idol.
Absolutely. Now, it was dumb of JT to do that, obviously. I can see where JT is coming from because Survivor at that point was just so like divided amongst tribal lines and amongst gender lines in some seasons. We're watching Vanuatu. That's the story of Survivor Vanuatu.
I also kind of blame Rupert because Rupert's the one that stood there to challenge and like, man, all the guys are getting picked off. It must be this girls' alliance.
Yeah.
No villain, no probes ever said girls' alliance. Rupert said it, and JT just couldn't get it out of his head.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and we all know Rupert isn't necessarily the best player of figuring out alliances. That's what Sandra was there for him, and that's what Boston Rob was there for him to do.
No, but Rupert put rocks in his pocket this season, so he played
I kind of
awesome.
Knew that was going to be the next line of this show.
It has to be. Like, that's his big move this season.
It is.
I want people to think I have an idol, so I sound like I'm joking. I'm not. It legitimately might be the most strategic thing Rupert ever does on this show.
Yeah.
Other than the bunker. But
well, that wasn't very strategic.
No, bit of sorry. I just wanted to mention the bunker.
Jerry says that was the worst night of her entire life.
We get so much great villains tribe content, one of which is they are on the struggle bus building their shelter. And I don't know if it's a confessional or if she just says this while they're building it. But she goes, well, it's not the worst shelter in Survivor history. I was in that my last season.
That's great.
And we never saw the shelter building challenge again.
No, we didn't. Which is too
Boy.
bad.
I just want to know what the house inspector guy was thinking when he got to Samoa and saw that their shelter was just a giant hole in the beach.
Now, if that was Russell instead of Rupert, speaking of back on our topic, he
Yeah.
would have been saying the house inspector doesn't know what he's talking about and I built the greatest shelter of all time.
I can hear it. That's the funny part. Like, he totally would. And he'd still be on Twitter now defending his bunker.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing with Russell is when he's wrong, he doesn't admit it.
Yep.
Which makes for entertaining TV, but also makes him kind of irritating. But no, he gets off again. We're on a tribe. He's on a tribe with a lot of people that are familiar with each other, and he's the new guy. And we idols are still somewhat new, and we've determined that the leader of this tribe
especially
is
having
Rob.
multiple idols in the game is very new.
Yeah, we've kind of settled on Rob's our tribe leader, and he hasn't played with idols before. So our solution is when we get a note about an idol,
Rob's
is
the tribe. We've settled on Rob's the tribe leader, or Rob decided I'm the leader, and that's that.
everyone but Russell seems to be going along with it.
Fair.
Before I get to what I was saying with the idol clue, though, we do get a whole confessional of Russell being jealous of Rob, and Rob acts like he's the dad of this tribe. I'm the daddy of the tribe, is a line he says. And then he also mentions Rob's dumb Red Sox hat, and I don't even like the Boston Red Sox. I like the Houston Astros. And this is all one confessional, I'm pretty sure.
Well, the Houston Astros strategy towards baseball games tend to line up with about how Russell plays Survivor, so that makes a lot of sense.
Not back then, though. They hadn't cheated yet.
We don't know. They just didn't get caught.
The cheating thing was like 7 years after this was filmed.
Fair enough.
But like we get a whole confessional of goldmine lines that's just him being jealous of Rob.
Yeah.
But so Rob hasn't played with idols. He doesn't want to have to learn something new. So his thing is, as a tribe, we're all going to agree. No, we ignore this clue. Nobody looks for the idol, and if you do, you get voted out. So what's the first thing Russell does? Is he goes digging on the beach looking for the idol. I mean, he's not helping himself here any.
No.
And there's even a conversation between them at camp one night where Rob just looks at him and goes like, "You're a marked man now. Everyone saw you looking for that."
Yeah.
And so that sets up a rivalry between them for a few episodes that's so good they tried to make it a theme of a season.
They did. And it does set up a rivalry in between them, but Russell lasts longer than Rob, so it doesn't mean that his strategy was wrong.
His strategy wasn't wrong. He just does a terrible job of not making himself a target on the villain's tribe.
Exactly.
Because he also goes on to bury the machete while people are sleeping one night. The machete thing does give us a great Sandra line at Tribal, though, doesn't it?
Does it ever?
It grew legs and it walked off. And that was kind of the birth of the other great rivalry this season. We get Russell versus Sandra that goes a lot longer than Russell versus Rob.
Yeah. And then, I mean, after the season, we even got a bit of a rivalry that's Russell versus Parvati.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Not on the beach, but it sure is like the case now.
Russell kind of just versus everyone on Survivor Internet at this point.
Yep.
But yeah, I've had this funny thought for years, by the way, because on Sandra's first season, her biggest rival was Fair Play, and of course on this season it's Russell.
Yep.
Can you imagine the hell Sandra would have been in if Fair Play had been on the Villains tribe and him and Russell are both there?
Oh, that would have been so funny.
Like if he's in Randy's spot, for example.
If that happens, I think the game might be entirely different. If Fair Play is on the Villains tribe, Sandra would have worked with the heroes.
Here's the thing though, outside of the game, like post Pearl Islands, Sandra and Fairplay get along pretty well.
Is it post Pearl Islands though, or post like pandemic and them hosting watch parties together?
It was pre-pandemic, I want to say. I
I
don't know
don't
when
think
it
they got
happened.
along at this point in time at all. I think they've started to get along much more into the modern era.
It
Well, I
probably
guess
wasn't a thing during Heroes
preschool.
versus Villains yet, but
Yeah.
it was pre-pandemic. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But like, if I don't see either one of them playing again. If those two were on a season together now, they'd play together. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
But Sandra would have been miserable if like
The only way I could see Fair Play playing again though is if he did Australian Survivor.
yeah, I don't think CBS has any interest in casting him.
Exactly. But I could see a world where they at some point do Australia versus the world again and bring Fair Play down under.
Yeah, I could see that. But and I was I think it's yeah. Fairplay wasn't at the 50 finale, was he?
Hmm.
Because we saw so many people from the history of the show there. I don't remember seeing him.
I'm looking that up.
I feel like it's no.
Yeah, no.
Interesting.
Fair Play hosted a viewing party with Rich on the finale for the finale in Tennessee.
Well, that's kind of on brand.
Yep.
But do you want to talk a little too? Because like Russell Sandra is the rival. Like that's the storyline of the season. After a certain point, is that rivalry?
So you mentioned JT. I think we would be out of order if we didn't get into the next big thing, and that's getting the idol, and
Oh,
then how the idols are played.
yeah.
So,
Also
from
convinces Tyson to vote himself out.
yep, that's very true. That was a big move.
And that was Rob's downfall also. We mentioned Rob goes home. Tyson switching his vote was Rob's downfall. Otherwise, Rob and Parvati are both gone pre merge.
Yeah.
And who knows what happens? Maybe Rob wins the season.
I mean, I hate to tell you. Just said you mean Russell and Parvati, not Robin Parvati.
Yeah, Russell and Parv.
You know who I think wins the season?
Amanda.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
exactly.
So, yeah, thanks, Tyson. But I can only give Russell so much credit for that because Tyson's the one who ultimately made the boneheaded move there.
Yeah.
But he needed some convincing.
And then fast forward 20 seasons later, Jeremy's the one who makes the boneheaded move, and it cost Tyson his spot in the game.
Safety without power.
Yep.
But
no, so ultimately you get all the men of the Heroes tribe convinced that Russell is on the bottom and the villains are all the women working together and he's going next. And they think this is our big move. Well, it's all the heroes in general, but they think this is our big move. Colby tells Russell at the challenge, after it's over, go see JT. He's going to pass you an immunity idol. Vote for Parv. She's going to win the game for the second time in a row. Russell comes back and gives Parvati that idol.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice by him for sure.
Yep.
And
Which leads us to probably one of the most memorable tribal councils of all time.
yeah. Also, as he's giving her the idol, he and Parvati are both like reading the letter, laughing at how dumb JT's move here
Yeah.
is.
But this shows you how where Russell's relationship lies again, because Russell gives Parvati the idol. When Parvati plays the idol, Russell might be the most blindsided person there other than JT.
Yeah, Russell knew. Parvati knew everything Russell did. He didn't know everything she did.
Yep. And that comes back kind of again. He didn't know that she had an idol already. She and Danielle kept the right amount of information away from him that they needed to in order to make sure that they weren't perceived as too big of a threat. Because if Perf said to Russell, "I got an idol today," Russell would have found a way to get her out.
Yeah.
And he did not need to know that. Instead, now she's in possession of two idols and plays them for two people that I don't think Russell really cared if they stayed or went, and used that for an ability to build relationships for herself with Sandra and Jerry.
Yep. And it brilliant move by her. Russell's blindsided. This is when he realizes I'm not as in control as I thought I was. And this is where he realizes I need to take out Danielle. He and Parvati are too close. I'm supposed to be her number one.
Yeah. Which he never was.
Yeah. But I think they aligned together before she came along, but it was very short.
Yeah.
But, and I will say, Russell takes Danielle out. She also kind of buries herself with a really foot in the mouth moment at that tribal where she looks at him and says, "Me and Parvati are closer than you think."
Yeah.
Future players, right. Don't ever say anything like that at tribal. That spooks people.
We saw that all the way back with Jerry in season 2.
Yeah.
Jeff, asking Jerry, who do you want to work with on your tribe? And instead of saying we have a great tribe and everyone's valuable, she says Mitchell, Colby, and Amber. And then finds Mitchell being voted out that night by Colby.
Yep. And so he takes Danielle out in response to the double idol. And then from there on, like, they pick the heroes. Danielle's kind of a break from they've been picking the heroes off.
Yep.
But he's just kind of insufferable to everyone at that camp at that point. Even Parvati, who he's, like, trying to be aligned with and wanting.
And I don't think it's just the people at the camp. I think at this point he's getting insufferable to Jeff, to production, and to everyone watching the show.
Probably, yeah. That's a lot of Russell.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that we've seen him 2 seasons in a row, so the audience didn't have the time to digest Samoa Russell and be like, okay, he was a legendary player, before they had to watch him again in 20.
And in 20, he's an even stronger flavor of himself.
Yep.
I tell you what, people are complaining now about back-to-back seasons of Rizzo, and they think he's all young and cocky and everything. Those people would not, like, I'm just imagining their reactions to 19 and 20 back-to-back.
That would have been hilarious.
I wasn't watching the show yet back then, but I imagine these people aren't either.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and as this is all happening in the post-merge, that rivalry with Sandra is growing each week. They don't like each other at all.
Nope.
And, like, as Russell's kind of in this reign of terror, menace to society. People are trying to just placate him, not make him mad at them or want to turn on them. One of the best moments of this season is Rupert and his loose lips let Russell know Sandra might be coming for him. And Russell comes up and goes, Sandra, are you with me or are you against me? And doesn't even bat an eye. Doesn't even sit up because she was laying down. I'm against you, Russell.
Sandra knows she has the numbers at this point.
Yeah, and they end up sending Rupert home because of his loose lips there. But
yep. And because Sandra knows she'll get his jury vote.
Yeah. But she turns right around after that conversation and fusses at Rupert and says loose lips sink ships. And then I'm like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
But it's just so good because everyone's afraid of making Russell mad and no one wants him to be mad at them. And then there's just Sandra that's, yeah, I'm against you. What are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
And a few episodes later, I'm going to throw your hat in a fire and you're not even going to know it. Which is also hilarious. Sandra throws Russell's famed fedora in the fire.
Normally I would say that that's not hilarious, other than the fact that Russell did the same thing to everybody else's stuff on his first episode, which made it come full circle.
Normally, I'm not for destroying people's stuff at all, but when it's Russell and they've been living on a beach with him for that long, I feel less sympathy for him.
Fair enough.
Great team. Speaking of his fedora, apparently Australian Survivor paid him extra to wear the fedora because he didn't want to. He thought that would make him a threat to come in there with his menacing fedora. So they paid him extra to wear that.
That's funny. I'm gonna have to try to find his Australian Survivor season.
All I know about it, other than that, is that he goes home wearing an idol around his neck.
Oh God.
Which might be the most Russell thing I've ever heard, to be arrogant enough to wear an idol around your neck at Tribal, and so unaware that you go home still. It's just so Russell, and I love it.
Yeah.
He's great TV, man.
He is.
And so he loses Heroes versus Villains. So another loss at Final Tribal. This time is a 0-vote finalist.
This time is a 0-vote finalist in what is a very tight final vote between Sandra, who eventually wins, against Parvati.
Yeah. And to this day, that is probably the most debated Final Tribal Council vote ever.
Is it?
It's one of them. There's a lot of Sandra versus Parvati who should have won stuff. Or at least there was a few years ago.
Yeah. It's definitely one of them.
I
still feel like Colby, Tina, and Michelle Aubrey might be in that category.
True. But I'm looking at the jury vote right now for Heroes versus Villains. Yeah, it's a 6-3 vote. Jerry, Danielle, and Coach vote for Parvati, and the Heroes vote for Sandra. Heroes plus Courtney, which you knew Courtney would vote for Sandra. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So.
And like you said then, the Russell against Rob rivalry is strong enough in the pre-merge that they try to make it into a whole season. So a year after Heroes versus Villains ends, we've got Russell back on TV.
And I know Nicaragua's your least favorite season, but you've got to be appreciative to Nicaragua that it stopped us from 3 straight seasons of Russell.
Yes.
Because we went 19, 20, 22. 21's the only thing that stood in the way from 3 straight seasons of him.
Well done, production. We didn't get Russell. You gave us Nayanka for a season.
Which might be worse, because Russell's at least good TV. But
That's kind of what I'm hinting at with that.
It's something different, at least.
We didn't get somebody who burns people's socks. We got somebody who tackled a handicapped person over a clue.
I'm not convinced Russell wouldn't have also done that, by the
That's fair.
way. And somehow neither of them are my least favorite player because Colton Cumbie exists,
Yeah.
who was insufferable his first season and then quit his second season.
I'm still with Jeff. We brought a quitter back and he quit again.
Yeah, but we don't need to go down that rabbit hole
We
again.
don't need to. The audience knows that we've had that debate before.
But yeah. So the thing is, this season is different because Russell is playing with people who have watched him before.
Yep.
Now, he pulls the purple buff, which is Zapatera, which to me is one of the most annoying tribes ever.
Yes.
Outside of like two people.
Yes,
But
agreed.
they want not they're smart in the sense they want nothing to do with him. They're dumb in the sense that they're wanting nothing to do with him is so strong they throw a challenge to vote him out.
Yeah.
Never throw challenges. It always
But
goes
Russell
sideways,
has-
and most of the time your tribe loses momentum, and you lose 2 or 3 challenges in a row after that. So
Yeah. But Russell has started this game exactly like the other two, even though he came second and third. And that's that he just gravitated towards Stephanie and Krista and said, let's go to the end together, and ignored everybody else.
yeah,
I think it's smart from Stephanie's perspective because she directly says that she's fine with it. She's seen Parvati and Sandra go to the finals with Russell. She's seen Natalie and Jason go to the finals with Russell.
yeah,
Or Natalie and Mick, I mean, go to the finals with Russell. Jason came just before. But so it's smart from her perspective because she's going, this might be my easiest path to get $1 million. Just sit next to this guy. But at the same time, now everybody's seen his act and it's over before it starts.
yeah.
So it's probably not a good strategy if you're Stephanie or if you're Krista, simply because this isn't everyone that sees Russell playing with two younger girls on the first week is saying, I've seen this film before.
Yeah.
Whereas in his first 2 seasons, nobody's seen it before.
Yeah.
So, like you say, that leads to a throne challenge. But this season is called Redemption Island, and Russell still has a shot.
I actually like Redemption Island as a twist.
I do too. I like Redemption Island as a twist because, unlike The Edge, even though it sort of works the same, you have to earn your way to the next week every single week. It's not being basically rewarded for being voted out.
I just don't like that the person that loses the duel has to burn their buff. Like, what if I want to keep that as a souvenir?
I hate that, other than the fact that watching Russell burn his buff and say, this is the last time I'll ever play the game was so satisfying.
Yeah, but like, if I'm a player, I want to keep my buff as a souvenir. Why are you forcing me to burn it? This is stupid.
I can't agree more.
So, but yeah, did they have that part when they bring Redemption Island back the second time or third time on Blood versus Water?
Nope.
And I don't think they did it on South Pacific either.
They didn't.
So it's
I think they realized it wasn't just the players, the fans were outraged.
Good.
Rightfully so, yeah.
Stupid idea. But hey, the open era, anything's possible. We might see buff burning coming back.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. There's no chance. This is just going to be a running gag, I think, now. As I say, hey, open era, maybe it comes back to like the most
and
ridiculous
Kevin is going to
things.
text you and say it's not coming back.
Yeah, like with our Vanuatu premiere, I did it with men versus women's season, which I'm just going to laugh if one of. But there's
I'm
no
just going to laugh
happening.
if one of the things that Kevin says will have no chance of coming back actually comes back.
Yeah. I agree with what Kevin texted us. There's no way they
Oh
do
yeah,
men versus women again, but I would love it.
yeah, agreed.
But yeah, Russell doesn't last long on Redemption Island either.
No, he does not.
And he throws his buff in the fire and says he'll never play again. And then years later, he goes to Australia and plays.
I don't even think there was an Australian survivor when he said that.
No, but it's still funny that he made such a big
It
deal
is.
about saying he was never playing again and then played again.
Yeah, very true.
Even if it's a different show.
Agreed. Well, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, not really. This was
That about
fantastic.
brings us to the end. Should we do an aligned blindside first boot?
Yeah, do you want to go first or do you want me
Yeah,
to?
let's go. I'm going to give you 3 people that were Russell's secondary allies. So your aligned blindside first boot is Danielle, Krista, and Mick,
Huh.
as opposed to his primary allies, Stephanie, Parvati, and Natalie.
I am going to align Danielle. She's my favorite. I think she's the best player of these three. I know we can get to the end. I guess Nick has proven he can get to the end also, but go to the end with Danielle. Blindside Krista and first boot Nick. I don't really have reasons for those. What about you?
I'd agree with you. I would align with Danielle easy. She was one of my favorite players of this era. I would blindside Krista and first boot Nick or Mick. I think Mick might be have a higher percentage of just being a pissed off juror,
Yeah,
or a much higher percentage than Krista. Krista seemed pretty calm on the island. Mick wanted to be in control
yeah, for sure.
and really liked being named the leader at the beginning of his season. What are your 3 names?
I am giving you Russell tribe mates.
Okay.
Let me double check Samoa real quick and see if the name I am thinking of made it to the merge. Because I have a great reference in my head for Samoa that we haven't pulled. So this might be Russell season mates, not tribe mates. Depends on where this person went home. Yeah, okay, he made merge. Cool. So from Samoa, we get Danger Dave Ball,
Okay.
who at like the baseball-y type challenge, I think, has a great interaction with Probst, where
That
Probst
was
goes,
awkward.
"So, Danger Dave, is baseball your sport?" And Dave Ball just goes, "No, lovemaking is my sport." With a complete straight face.
A bizarre guy on there.
Yeah, that scene is just, who says that?
Yeah, he does.
It gets weirder because Probst keeps it going. He goes, "Oh, do you play very often?" And Dave says, "Not enough."
Oh.
But Probst, what kind of question is that?
And then now we wonder why Probst is saying that he wants to make Survivor more of a family show.
Yeah, well, that's quite the turn from Danger Dave. But you get Danger Dave. Your tri-mate from Heroes versus Villains is Randy. Randy Bailey. I was drawing a blank on the last name. And from Zapatera, you get Julie Wolf.
Okay.
I'm not giving you much to work with here, admittedly.
I mean, you're giving me one of my favorite players of the 10s to work with, so Randy's obviously my ally.
Yeah, but he seems like he'd be difficult to be aligned with and difficult to work with.
I still think it would be entertaining. I love watching Randy on TV every single time that he's there.
I think you're the minority on that.
I know I'm the minority on that. But hey, if we ever want to do Survivor unpopular opinions, we should do that this off season.
Well,
That
my
might make
biggest
my
one was
list.
best to never win, and now my opinion on that has changed and is the
Well,
popular opinion.
there we go. We can do that episode, and we can have that topic not featured because it's been debated to death.
Yeah.
Um. So I'm going to align with Randy. I'm going to blindside Danger Dave, see what he comes up with as a jury question.
That's a great point.
And then that leads me to first boot. Who is left?
Julie.
Julie. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I don't remember much of Julie other than her wanting to throw a challenge, so.
She buried Philip Shorts.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That was ridiculous.
Oh, she's terrible and awful. I was just trying to make the game difficult for you.
Exactly. What about you?
I was going to align with Danger Dave, but man, you made a great point with what the heck is that guy going to say on the jury? So I'm changing it, and I'm going to blindside him for that reason. And I just don't want to deal with Julie in the slightest. So I'll first boot her, which leaves me to begrudgingly align with Randy. But, I guess there's a benefit if we make it to the end together. There's no way that guy's getting jury votes. So,
Yeah.
but, Danger Dave is a juror. Well, he did. What was his jury question in Samoa? He made.
I forget.
But what a crazy character, or at least crazy conversation that guy had.
Yeah.
This was fun.
This was fun. So this will air tomorrow. We will then have our next episode of Vanuatu next week. You're going away, so we'll be doing our World Cup chat predictions a week from tomorrow. And then when you're back, we'll have episode 3 of Vanuatu plus whatever subject we pick next to be determined.
Yeah.
There's the next 2 weeks of Tribal Council chat. And when you're back, if we can get some time that works for Kevin, we'll come back for a roundtable talk special.
Yeah, for sure. And with that being said, everyone grab your torches and head back to camp. Bye, everyone.
Good night.